Welcome to the Buddy and Marceau Convo. I'm your host, Buddy Ellick, and this is my co-host, Master System Marceau, bringing you some talking about the video games, and we're going to talk about some racing games too in this little podcast here. So here we go.
All right, all right.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
but
Go
do you
ahead.
remember how to do the format of this? It's been so long.
I do not remember anything, so
Yeah, yeah, I know. I'm kind of like a little rusty, but we'll get going here. And so I think the first thing, yeah, I remember we do. What's a piece of gaming news that we're both interested in talking about? Yeah, let's do that.
yeah. Oof, yeah, there's been quite a few things happening too over the past month, so I don't even know where to
Yeah,
start. Let me start first by saying I burned 1,119 calories today, and I'm now
nice,
under
very nice.
185 pounds, so pretty happy with that. And
That's much better than me. I think I'm like 6'5.5", but I weigh like 227. So I need to get
I
back in shape there and stop eating garbage food like I'm eating a bowl of popcorn here. It's homemade popcorn though. It's actually like I made it on the stove and everything or whatever,
oh
and I got butter and I got this special popcorn salt or whatever is freaking delicious. But I know it's just terrible for me, and I know it's bad. There's no nutritional value in popcorn, but it's so
yeah.
dang
So
good.
yeah, popcorn actually, if you could get corn that's not GMO, it's not that bad. The
Mhm.
problem is in North America,
Yeah.
most corns are GMO and they're really
Oh yeah.
garbage.
Oh
But
yeah.
if you could get your hand, because popcorn in itself is not that bad, butter isn't bad, believe it or not. I
Mhm.
eat a ton of fat, but it's just you have to avoid what's processed. Like if you eat a salad, I always put avocado oil vinaigrette in it, and that's like 135 calories a teaspoon. It's heavy, but it has no garbage that's going to destroy your gut bacteria. So you actually lose weight by eating good real food. So that's the only thing
Yeah.
that matters is don't eat anything that's made in a factory and refined, ultra processed. As long as you do that, this past week I've eaten probably almost twice as much as I usually eat, and I still lost 2 extra pounds just because I'm
Nice.
I'm I'm eating just real food, real non-processed food. That's the secret. That it's just as simple as that. You know,
Yeah.
if you eat fast food, but only anything in box and that you don't know how it's made, then that's how you gain weight, man. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I got kids, and of course they eat stuff and it's like, oh, I gotta have that. It's sometimes I have this tendency, it's like my kids don't eat all their food. So of course I have to finish all their food, even if it's not even good for me.
Yeah.
That's just kind of, it comes back to, it's like when you're a kid, you remember, especially when our generation remembers, oh man, you got to eat all the food on your plate, or you're going to get in trouble. So it's like part of me like instinctively does not want my kids to get in trouble, even though they're not, because I'm the parent, obviously. But plus, it's an excuse to eat their food, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely, and I eat salad kits from time to time, and I put like grilled chicken on it and stuff like that. And but yeah, I also eat probably whatever the heck the stuff that comes with it, the salad dressing or whatever. And I'm sure is questionable. My wife uses like a really specific salad dressing that has no dairy in it at all. So yeah, she has like the Mediterranean diet. She did keto for a while, and I think she did paleo before that. But yeah, yeah, I've not really tried a specific diet. I probably should at some point. I mean, some point I'll come talk to like a dietitian or something. I don't know. At some point, figure out what my body type is, and but yeah, it's I probably should be more in a hurry about that than I am, but I've not really been. So
Mm,
yeah, it's hard. And part of my other problem too is there's so many sweets in the house, and it's like it's like I can't resist, man. If I could just get it all out of the house, I'd probably be a lot better position there. But and
yeah.
you got kids,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, one of the things I do like every day after school, I I always give, so they never want to leave, okay, because they have like their aftercare or whatever and everything. So I always make and they have snack time right at the time we're supposed to leave. So I always make sure I bring like two Tootsie Pops. Yeah, and sometimes I have to have one. So,
Yeah, yeah. Me.
but yeah,
I just buy fruits. Like if you anybody that wants any sweets, it's just there's fruits. You want
yeah,
that has as much sugar. You don't like if you really want sugar. It has the same amount, but it's just real sugar. It's not
mhm,
well the
yeah,
garbage that they put because the thing is it's all the extra stuff, and of course it's like 35 grams of sugar in a candy. On
yeah.
average. But it's also all the garbage that they add with that, and like the fat-free salad dressing. I don't know if that's what your wife uses. She want to make sure
I
there's
don't know.
no,
I just know it's dairy free. That's what I know
yeah,
about it. I'm not totally
yeah,
sure.
yeah. So what you want to check on the label is if there is any soybean oil, sunflower oil, canola oil. If there is that,
Yeah,
switch to Primal Kitchen or anything that's paleo friendly. Uh,
yeah.
and you will be full as much because those are heavier in calories, but again those are
Oh
good
yeah,
calories, and you will actually lose weight rather than eating something fat free that's going to kill your gut bacteria, and you're still going to be hungry when you eat it. So it's all
yeah.
as when you
Yeah, you gotta have
understand.
some fats.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, oh yeah, you do. And otherwise,
absolutely.
if you don't, you're gonna, at some point your body is gonna give up, and also you're gonna go back to eating badly once you're done, because then you're on a diet. The thing is to change permanently your eating habits, and that's by
Oh yeah, make your
eating.
new normal.
Yes, by eating real food. If you just like starve yourself, that's never going to
Mhm.
work. You know.
Yeah, it's like giving up. It's hard to give it up, and make that your new normal. Like I when I was in the Air Force, I smoked the entire time I was in the Air Force. Yeah, I quit like in 2013, and yeah, it just had to become the new normal for me. That's like I was not using. I stopped. Yeah, I stopped over. Yeah, I've been much healthier because of it, and
Yeah.
yeah, and I ever since I met my wife, I eat a lot healthier. I used to just eat nothing but garbage. Now it's just like it's a fine mixture of healthy food and garbage, but there's still garbage there, but not like it was at all. And
Yeah.
like sometimes I get like a chicken sandwich instead of a burger every time, and it's like I hardly ever eat burgers. I used to eat them all the time, and now it's kind of, yeah, I've cut back pretty significantly. Yeah, it's all, yeah, it's just it's a stepping stone. It's like because, yeah, if you go to one extreme, it's like you gotta wean yourself off these things. Otherwise you'll never stick to it.
Well, yeah, and well, there's the thing. You don't have to cut off burger entirely. The thing is, make sure you cook your meat on a grill. Don't use any bad
Mhm.
oils on it, because if you got
Yeah.
McDonald's, they cook it in canola oil and all these bad
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
So it
Oh
destroys
yeah.
your
It's
gut
terrible for you.
bacteria, your DNA and
Yeah.
everything. If you cook it on a barbecue yourself, Five Guys also cooks them the correct way. That's
Yeah.
fine. The bun, make sure it's not added sugar and garbage in the bun. That's the thing. You can eat whatever, really, almost whatever, but make sure you get good stuff though. That I spend so much money at the grocery store these days. You have no idea,
Yeah. It's
but it's all worth it,
ridiculous.
man. It's all worth it.
Yeah. Well, I got, a wife and two kids, so I really don't. I know what you mean about spending so much money at the grocery store.
Yeah,
It's
but
expensive. It's expensive.
yeah, but
Yeah,
it's needed when if you want good health. But anyway, we're not doing
absolutely. I know. We
a
just turned this into
nutrition.
a nutrition channel. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about. I guess. I mean, what's the most recent thing? There's the new PS5 anniversary edition. I guess that's the newest thing that's come out. The
Uh,
Pro
so
anniversary edition.
Yeah, so I tweeted about it earlier today that PlayStation has really been dropping the ball these days. And
Twelve thousand units. That's fucking ridiculous.
I'm not anti PlayStation. I'm gonna do my Dreamcast guy here, show my controller. I own a PlayStation
uh,
4 Pro, you know. And I don't hate them. They used to be amazing. But
mhm.
with the PS5, I feel that they've been dropping the ball. The PS5 Pro, when you add the disc drive, it's $800. That's absolute insanity, in my opinion.
It's absurd.
Yeah, absurd for a console. You just barely have a better performance the way I see it. Because I don't care really what the graphics are. I do personally, I care about the 60 frames per second. I do care about that. Um, I think they're lazy when they're not giving it to us because they can. The consoles are powerful enough. Just reduce your graphics and that will achieve it, or work on the game a little more. I don't know. When you
Oh
see
yeah.
that they can have Mario Odyssey on Switch at 60 frames per second, Mario Kart, on a simple Switch. But yeah,
Yeah.
so they're doing that. They're they you didn't want to talk about it, but I'm still gonna engage on it 2 seconds. They released Concord, that was a live service flop, but that's not just them. That's the entire industry almost. Xbox is the same thing with the live service games, and people are fed up of them. I feel, I certainly am.
Yeah.
Um, so
We don't need
yeah,
that shit.
screw it.
Yeah,
Like,
Concord looks stupid, honestly. I kind of like I didn't know much about it. I didn't even heard it. I never heard any advertising for it or anything. All of a sudden it's like, it's like there's a big controversy. Concord's going down and I'm like, okay, I don't even know what the hell that is, honestly. And it's like sometimes I look at um Twitter and Bluesky, to check out what's going on in social media. And I didn't see much of anything until it came out. And then all of a sudden it's like, this thing's bad, something, something. And next thing you know, it's like, oh, we're discontinuing Concord. And I'm like, okay.
yeah.
I didn't even know. It's like, apparently they spent like $400 million or something on this thing. And it's like, what did they spend their money on? I don't get it. But, and yeah, so I thought it was an interesting topic for sure. But I don't know if it's like, yeah, I didn't really want to. Really, I just had nothing to weigh in on that. It's like because it's one of those things like I didn't know it was going to be a thing, and then it was a thing, and then it wasn't a thing. So,
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so the thing is with Concord, they learned today that it actually cost $400 million to make the game, and that is the most expensive game that PlayStation has ever produced, and that's not counting that they purchased a studio, so it's $500 million and over. So when you think about it, Last of Us Part Two was like 200 million, so that's way more money than that. So they're really
People
like,
wonder why everybody keeps going with the remasters. It's what people want. I'm sorry, but it's because like it's like anything else. People always say, oh, Hollywood and the gaming industry, they have new ideas. But people love these safe comfort foods. They're scared to try new IPs a lot of
yeah,
times, unless it's something like Splatoon. I mean, that was a new IP like 10 years ago. It's hard to believe, right?
yeah,
And yeah, and that was a gamble. But the problem is, it's like these companies, they want to make the big monies and they don't want to take risks. And
yeah.
except Nintendo does nothing but take risks. I mean, for the most part. At the same time, I hope the Switch 2 is at least as powerful as a PS4 Pro. You would hope, or maybe at least a PS4, for sure, because obviously it's quite underpowered. But I don't know what new crazy gimmick they're gonna have for Switch 2. It'll be interesting. I've heard some people say, oh, the screen's gonna be like a flip, the screen flip thing or whatever. I don't know if that's. I would like to see it become like
Yeah.
a Wii U gamepad, but you can take it anywhere with you. But you know what I mean, like, but it'll still stay on the screen with. I don't know, something like that. That's what I think it would be, but.
There were some leaks this week that seem legit, and it's gonna be like the Switch One, just more powerful, and the power of more or less an Xbox Series S, definitely more powerful than the PS4 Pro. So
Hmm.
that's there.
We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if I believe these leaks, honestly.
yeah. Well, these ones
Yeah.
seem serious, but we'll see. But if that's the case, yeah, for sure take it with a grain of salt. But if that's the case, I
Mhm.
mean, I understand because they did take a lot of risks before, like with the Wii U, and it flopped. Was a disaster,
Mhm.
right? I mean, you love that console. I also think it's a good console. I mean, the library is small, but the
My
way
son
it's,
was just playing it today. He was playing was it? I know it's on everything, but Lego Movie. That's what he was playing
oh,
on
kids love
Wii
the
U.
Wii U. I know, yeah,
Yeah,
plenty of kids love the
so
Wii
good.
U. Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea.
The Twilight Princess machine.
Yeah. But the problem is when it released, I did think it was an add-on to the regular Wii. I didn't even realize it right away, and there was not much hype around the Wii U. So
Yeah,
I
I
love,
remember my friend
yeah.
Patrick had it, but he was the only person I knew.
Mm,
And I remember the funny thing is he told me in his story about how he was going to get there was one black Wii U left and he didn't know it was the last one, but there was somebody behind him, and he and he gave it to them, and so he ended up having to get the white one that was like 8 gigs. What were they? I don't know. Over there, it's like we laugh at, oh man, they had 8 gig and 32 gig, you know, Wii U, but then of course they did the same thing with the Switch. It was 32 gigs and 64. Maybe the later ones had more memory, but because I got a Switch in 2017. Wasn't expecting to get one. I was kind of real like pro Wii U, anti Switch, and then my wife got me one for like Christmas or birthday. She also got me the Wii U as well. But yeah, and then I was kind of like, Switch is okay, and I still think it's okay. It's got a great library, of course, but it's been around for 7 years now, and it was heavily supported. So, I mean, it felt like at the beginning, for the most part, the Wii U ports were carrying it. But if I have to be honest, that's not really the case anymore. And so, and yeah, and of course, obviously the Wii U and 3DS eShops are shut down, and the online is shut down now, and that's unfortunate because that really made the Wii U especially very special. Especially with like Mario Maker. I still think the original Mario Maker is way better than Mario Maker 2. I know that's a hot take for a lot of people, but that's how I feel. Honestly, I love that you could unlock the mystery mushrooms and stuff like that. Now you really can't unless you get like one of those amiibo things or whatever where you can change the amiibo. I don't know, like one of those amiibo cards you can get from like AliExpress or something. I don't know, but it's not a big deal to me because I haven't played it. It's if I can't play other people's levels anymore, kind of what's the point? So,
Yeah. But by the way, let me say real quick. I'm addicted to watching videos of people playing Mario Maker. There's one big streamer, a YouTuber, it's called Ryukar, that I watch religiously. Every time he releases a new video on YouTube, I watch it. And usually he releases on Saturday around noon before I go to the gym. So when I go to the gym, I watch his video on the elliptical or on the treadmill. Addicted to it. And like him and everyone else that does Mario Maker for a living, all the professionals, they all say Mario Maker was better. And the levels are just so much. There were so much better things you could do. First of all, the costumes that changed the dynamic completely. Like they really dropped the ball.
150 costumes. Yeah, it was great.
They really dropped the ball. I made it more bland with Mario Maker 2. It's really disappointing, but
Absolutely. And it's not even really that supported anymore either.
no. But that's the thing with games that rely on online stuff. When the servers go
Yep.
down, and if the company like Nintendo doesn't give a damn about us, and PlayStation doesn't
Absolutely.
either, Xbox isn't. None of them care. They don't make any money with it anymore. Hey, we shut down. Screw you guys. So
I just can't believe the PS3 store is still open.
yeah, but
I bought a game on there a while back. I probably should try to maybe do that more instead of. I mean, it's like kind of weird catch-22. On one hand, don't want to support the evil corporation. On the other hand, I'd still like them to keep this, the store open for convenience reasons.
yeah,
Very nice. You got the core powder, elite vanilla. Very nice.
42 grams of
Um,
proteins. Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, and then it's like, but at the same time, I recently bought the Final Fantasy Anthology on PS1, so I can play that on my PS3. Speaking of which, that kind of brings us up to the next segment. What have you been playing? Like,
Well,
what's
so
the game you've been playing this
yeah,
month?
I've been playing Sonic Superstars for the past 2 weeks. I didn't just beat the normal story, so spoiler alert if you don't want to hear spoilers about Sonic Superstars. Not a big spoiler. It's like yeah, it's not much. But so when you complete the game with Sonic, you have another campaign that opens up, and it's way harder than the campaign with Sonic, and it's with a new character. And so I did that, and then when you complete the harder campaign, you have also the real final boss. So I've been doing that on both Xbox and PlayStation because I like it so much. And now I'm doing the Platinum Trophy and all the achievements on Xbox. I really love it. I'm having so much fun. And then I'm planning on doing Lollipop Chainsaw maybe tonight already after the podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna be working on that for the week coming.
Let's just say something about Lollipop Chainsaw. Yeah, I heard really good things about Lollipop Chainsaw. Of course, the game didn't initially sell very well when it was on like PS3 and Xbox 360.
Yeah,
Yeah, and there's a remake, and then does it come with the original? Then you said.
yeah. Just the
Yeah.
musics are changed, but everything else is the same.
Nice.
No
Yeah.
censorship yet.
People are crazy with the whole censorship talk. It's like these people, did they forget like when we were kids, remember watching Back to the Future on TBS or TNT, and they like edited it out when Doc Brown said that we're going to see some serious shit. He said see some serious stuff. It's like
I didn't
it's
know
nothing
that.
new, man. Yeah. Yeah, that's how I don't think maybe I watched the original Back to the Future on VHS or something, but I remember thinking after when I was watching it as a kid on TV and then seeing the real thing, and I'm like, oh, I totally forgot that that's actually how it really was. It's who. I mean, most people don't care. I mean, I feel like there's just so many people that are just so terminally online, or it's like if you're not paying attention, it's like you're not going to know otherwise. It's what I kind of think about that. But
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, so the game that we're going to be playing next month. Let's talk about that. It actually comes out this month.
Yeah.
It's the new Zelda game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna play the new Zelda game, and we're gonna talk about that on the podcast next month. So
Yeah.
that's pretty exciting. I'm a big fan, of course, of Link's Awakening. I mean, I had the original Game Boy version as a kid, and of course, got the Game Boy Color one when that came out. When I got it, that's what was the first game I got with my Game Boy Color, and Game and Watch Gallery too, I want to say. And then, of course, I got the Switch, Link's Awakening. I do. At first I was kind of hesitant, a little bit about the style of the Switch version, and then the more and more I thought about it, it's like it really, really grew on me. It reminds me of like the characters like in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's clay. It feels has that claymation vibe to it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this version. It's so cool to get to play as Zelda.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Any
Yeah.
Zelda game, whatever character we play with, no, I'm down. These games are so
Absolutely.
polished. That's an issue I have with Sonic Superstars. By the way, I love it, but the polish is not like on the Nintendo games. It just when you play it, I don't know, man. It's just so perfect. So can't wait to play that. I played almost all the Zelda games. Some 2D ones I didn't do, like Four Swords or whatever, but most of them, even those on the DS, I did. So no, really big fan of those. So that's gonna be
Yeah, I'm kind of
interesting.
all over the place. Yeah, I'm kind of all over the place too on that. No, I remember trying the original Zelda as a kid. Struggle with that. Struggled with Zelda 2 when I was like what am I like what 4, 5, 6 years old, something like that. And then I think Link's Awakening was the first one I really got into. That I could really invest in. And then of course Ocarina of Time came out, and that was like one of my first games on my Nintendo 64. And I think a buddy of mine helped me beat it. Actually, I don't know that I actually beat it myself. And I
Really?
tried to beat Majora's Mask. I remember I got
Ooh,
like,
that was hard.
I think like, yeah, it's so hard. I got 3/4 of the way through it. I think I don't know that I ever finished that one. And and I need to finish. There's so many. Yeah, there's a lot of Zelda games like I start, get really far, and never finish. That's my toxic trait.
Yeah.
But Link's Awakening, I beat on every way you can beat that game. That game is just my baby, And Four Swords, I've played a little of that, and I actually have that on the GameCube, and my son actually really enjoys that one, and it's fun too. Like I always have to help him with that, and and of course there's the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Everybody loves those games. I'm kind of like I, I got really a little invested in Breath of the Wild, but I just have not really played much of Tears of the Kingdom. I think my son has played them more than I have, to be honest, at this point, or at
Yeah.
least Tears of the Kingdom, not Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, I know I invested at least 60 hours in that game, give or take, between the Wii U and um the Switch version, but
Yeah.
I really like it. I love Zelda games. Yeah, you can't go wrong with a Zelda game, especially if it's that top-down style.
Yeah.
What was the one on 3DS? That was kind of like Link to the Past. What's it called
Yeah.
now? A
It's
Link
on the.
Between Worlds. Yeah, Link Between Worlds. I remember I got pretty far in that one too. I don't think I finished it though, but I remember there was one thing I remember that really sticks out in my head is how accessible that game was. The fact that you could just like buy all the stuff you needed really at the beginning there. That was cool.
Yeah.
But
Phantom Hourglass was good too on DS. I completed that one as well. But to go back on Breath of the Wild, the you said you played 60 hours. I played, I believe, 350 hours on that game. And the more you
sounds like
play
a lot
it,
of people.
yeah, I have the guide, the book, the guidebook and everything.
Oh, nice.
because the more you invest time in it, the more fun it is. It's again, it's really addictive when you start upgrading your gear, because if you really want to level up, it's mostly with the gear, and to acquire all the level 4 armor and weapons and all that, which will help you with each type of enemy. You have to collect like a certain amount of bugs, a certain amount of rocks of a type, and all that. You have some moon fragments that come, and you have to understand how you spawn them, and when they spawn, where they go, and immediately go grab them before the day comes, because then they disappear. It's the whole thing, and that's, I think, the most appealing thing in this game. But if you don't go above 100 150 hours, you'll never know these things. If you just do the game normally, it's average, I'd say. But if you go really to like level up completely, it's actually super fun, because some things you have to go get are not easy to get, and it's challenging. I really liked it. Really,
It's really intense. Yeah, it's such a grind and a huge commitment. Absolutely. And yeah, speaking of huge commitments, one of my other toxic traits is I love to buy Final Fantasy games and never finish those either. I got Final Fantasy 5, or the part which is part of the Final Fantasy anthology. I already had Final Fantasy 6 digitally, but yeah, I got it on the PS1. I started out playing that a little bit the other day, and I was really liking what I played. I played it for about an hour or so. It's funny too. My wife was like, "You need to read to Jack," and I'm like, "Okay." So I actually had him reading the text, and yeah, that put him to sleep. So, I was really enjoying that, though. I'm really enjoying the aspects of that. Speaking of Jack, we've actually been playing some games today. Actually, we played Ken Griffey Jr.'s Major League Baseball. I don't know if you've ever played that.
Yeah.
On Super NES. So good. Oh my gosh. It's one of those games I grew up with and I'm incredibly nostalgic for. And what I really enjoy about playing against him is the first time we played, it was really bad. It's like I hadn't played it in, 20 years, but man, it's like riding a bike. I figured it out pretty quickly. But today, oh my gosh, I think it was the 4th game we've played of this game together. We always pick different teams each time. Today, you actually picked the Mariners or whatever, so you got to play as Ken Griffey Jr. And I typically, most of the time, pick the White Sox if I can. And wish the White Sox were good in real life right now, but worst team in history right now. But but anyways, he and I, we went toe to toe. This got intense, with the throwing fastballs, and he's figured it. We were trying to figure each other out. Okay, is he going to throw a fastball? Is he going to throw a slow ball, is he going to throw a curveball? That was what we were doing. And I was just explaining to him how psychological this game is, and he'd try to do things make a lot of noises to mess me up. And I'm like, stop it. So yeah, it was so much fun. And yeah, I won by 1 run. Actually, it was a close game, but he was ahead for the first 5 innings or whatever. And I just could not get to home or whatever. And he just kept catching them. He's just gotten so much better. It's so cool when you see your little gamer, who started out, didn't know what he was doing. All of a sudden, it's like he's, playing toe to toe with me. It's impressive. And then, what do we play after that? I'm trying to think.
Some Silver Falls game from Some Grand Studios.
Oh God, no.
No, I wonder why.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna have to leave Silver Falls and go to Bright Falls? Yeah. No, we were playing another. It was another Super Nintendo game. I don't remember what it was now. I'm just drawing a blank here, but I don't remember what it was. But after that, then he was like, "I want to play a Wii U game," and I'm like, "Okay." And of course, he pulled out Lego the Movie. That was the one he wanted to play. That's actually a pretty fun game of what I've seen. What I really like is Lego City Undercover. That game is. He's had me help him a couple of times where he's like, "I can't beat this, Dad. Try beating it." I'm like, "Okay." So, but that's what we've been playing. So
nice. I just want to say hi to Wonka Bar here in chat on Twitch.
Hi, Wonka Bar.
Wonka Bar. And Mia. Oh yeah. While we're talking about what we've been doing, I've got this beautiful controller. Look at that. Outrun Mass System Designs. I haven't had the courage to open it yet.
Cool.
It's so beautiful, and
Yeah, you sent me a picture of that the other day, and
yeah,
it was yesterday or today, and I was like, oh my goodness, that is killer.
yeah.
Oh man, Alex Kidd, yeah, very
So
nice.
this never released outside of Japan, but there's a guy in England who does custom cartridges and stuff, homebrews and all that. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, he makes those, and so this one is actually the hack version that is compatible with a normal controller. Because otherwise, this
Oh
game
wow.
normally you can only play it with the Sega control stick, whatever it's called.
What?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. So like it's like a trackball, but yeah, it's the sports pad on the control stick. Sorry, but yeah, no, I have the world record also for this game, so I played it quite.
Nice.
Yeah, that means I played it a lot. So yeah,
Yeah.
I really love it. I was happy to get that, and it's not that expensive. It was like $50 or something. So pretty cool, pretty cool. With the
Fifty
CD,
dollars for $50 for is that a reper? So it's a hack then?
yeah. So he prints that himself. He makes a cartridge and everything. It's homemade,
Oh, so it's a
basically.
reproduction. I feel a rate coming on.
Yeah. Well, there's no game that looks like this. It's only the Japanese version,
I
and
know. I'm just
that's
giving
in
you a hard time.
that's in a gold box. It doesn't look like this at all. You cannot mistake this for the real thing. There's no real
Oh
thing
yeah.
of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah. But yeah, for anyone who's interested, I'm just gonna say his name is Zanoni. Zanoni Revived. Contact him on Twitter if you want this. He does this and many other games. Pretty cool guy.
Zanoni revived.
Zanoni,
Zanoni revived.
Zanoni Revived. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. So I had a bunch of different ideas for this podcast. At one point I thought, oh, we're gonna do like talk about racing games as RPGs. And then I was like, that's kind of like, I mean, how many of those are? So there's not much to say. So
Yeah.
what I ultimately decided to do, I was like, let's do like, here's 10 questions that talk about racing and video games. So I came up with 10 questions here. So let's get right to it.
All right. Yeah.
All
By
right.
the way, I don't know what these questions are. Just
It's true. I
FYI.
asked him ahead of time. I was like, do you want the questions? He's like, nope, just surprise me. I'm not prepared anyways. So,
Yeah.
anyways, so the first question is, what was the first racing game you ever played and how did it influence your gaming preferences?
Oh wow. That was a long time ago, man. Whew.
I know, right? It was a long time ago for me too.
That must have been pole position on Commodore 64. Yeah, or actually there was also a bike, but it's not really racing. There was some sort of biking game on Commodore 64, but I don't know what the name of it was. But let's say pole
Was it
position. Yeah.
nice?
How?
Yeah, for me, it's like I remember playing pole position at the local pizza place. I remember vaguely doing that. I think it was pole position. I don't know. I guess the game I would think I played Mario Kart, like Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo, but I didn't really like it as much. But what really got me, I think, into playing racing games was Mario Kart 64, if anything. To me, that was just like the pinnacle. It was just so cool, and getting to finally play as Wario, because I really liked Wario then, and I thought that was really neat. And yeah, and the battle mode was super fun with the balloons and everything. It was just that was something else, because it was so different, felt so different. It's like it was cool playing it on the Super Nintendo, but man, playing it on N64 was just a whole other level. It's those games that really got me into racing games or started to get my interest in it, and got me into more later stuff, because like there were other games later, even in the late '90s, that like I wasn't as much into NASCAR games back on like the PS1 era. I mean, they were fine,
Hmm.
but the controls just didn't feel tight to me, and I just struggled with them. And I remember playing like NASCAR racing on the PC, like from like 1995 as well.
Yeah.
And I like the customization of that, and NASCAR Racing '99 edition as well. Also great, really, really great customization on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I look back on with the fondest childhood memories, it'd be around Mario Kart for sure.
Back in the day, the what I was playing mostly was simulators. So Yeah, NASCAR racing on PC from Papyrus. I don't know how you say that.
Yeah, Papyrus. Yeah,
Yeah, I said Papyrus in French. I don't
so
know.
good.
And
Yep.
F1 Grand Prix also by Micro Pros. These were extraordinary back in the day. So yeah, I played those religiously for so long.
That kind of
Uh,
segues into the next question, actually. Which racing game series do you think has made the biggest impact on the genre?
huh.
Yeah, that's heavy. That's a heavy question, isn't it?
Yeah. I can't say. Yeah, because there's so many like there's rally racing, NASCAR, open wheel,
Mhm.
or
I know
arcade like
racing's a big.
Outrun. Impact on the genre, and yeah, because with racing, like you just do like how do you change really what it is? You're just doing racing.
Yeah.
I would say, well, I would say for simulation wise, yeah, I would say again, Papyrus was doing the best, and leading everything, and I think they were the staple of
Oh, yeah.
the genre. Because
Well,
in
yeah, like NASCAR Racing 2003. That like was something like real drivers were actually using in their simulations.
yeah,
To like get prepared. Like I remember, like yeah, guys like Carl Edwards and Denny Hamlin were actually using NR 2003 to simulate Pocono because neither one of them had ever driven a Pocono before. And stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that they were the best, and those guys that were doing Race Pro, and I forgot the name of the studio now. They were pretty good as well. And I gotta say, by the way, while we are talking about that, I've also been playing a little bit of Forza Motorsport on Xbox Series X because I have Game Pass Ultimate.
Nice.
But the graphics are amazing. Okay, the graphics you can do. I mean, I don't know how you can do better than that. Honestly, it's gonna be hard. But like you don't have any sensation of speed, and like when you reach a turn, like it takes 5 hours to slow down your car. The handling is all bad, all wrong. I don't know. I don't. I'm not seeing anybody criticizing it, but you compare it to other games. Because right after that, I booted up Project Cars 3. That's from the guys who made the Need for Speed Drift series, which I love. Oh my god, that Project Cars 3 is really good. And by the way, I tried it for the first time because I bought it on sale for like $20 or so. And my
Mhm.
dad is playing that game all the time on PC.
Nice.
And he told me, yeah, you should get Project Cars 3. And I'm like, well, I have it on Xbox, and I tried it. And indeed, it's just fantastic, man. It doesn't
Nice.
compare with even Gran Turismo. It's not very realistic compared to that. When you're in Project Cars or the Grid
That's
games
what I was
as
gonna say.
well, like you feel like
I was
you're
gonna
in a
say.
race car.
Mhm.
Yeah, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, yeah. For my answer was Gran Turismo, actually, because I guess I look at it from maybe more of a console perspective. Because I probably mostly played on consoles at that age, especially when the first one came out.
Yeah.
And then I feel like at games like I feel like I really stopped actually at Gran Turismo 5, but I think about all the cool things you could do, like hooking up like multiple monitors and things like that, and just, or like I had talked about in my PlayStation 3 video about how it still utilizes that 3D, and you could put on 3D glasses and play. You could theoretically hook up like more 3D monitors if you had them or whatever. And it definitely, just it's like I don't feel like these games are totally realistic or anything, but at least Gran Turismo, but they feel like they could be to a certain degree. Other than obviously when you run into stuff, it's like that ain't real, but it just had just the look, the cars. You can tell they just took this to the limit, and they
Hmm.
really catered it to that hardcore fan, the crazy person
Yeah.
who would hook up like 5 monitors at once to really give and have a racing wheel. So yeah, I guess for me, my first thought was Gran Turismo. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it definitely handles better than Forza. Um, I also used to love Forza a lot. The car selection is nice. The tracks, there's a lot of tracks. There's some nice racing modes and stuff. But I don't know, the new one I have a hard time with. And also, there used to be IndyCar as well that handle like the DW12 handles really well in Forza 7. But now you don't have it anymore, and it's really
Oh man.
disappointing. So you have like all McLaren Formula One in there, but that's about it for open wheel. And I really like driving open wheel. I think it's so fun. The NASCAR were also used to be in Forza. They're not there anymore. Like so I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of the new one. I think it's yeah, it's beautiful, but I think it's a lazy attempt at a racing game compared to what they used to do.
Yeah, you know it's a really bad game? The Days of Thunder game that came out on PS3 and Xbox 360, like I don't know how many
I
years ago. I remember yeah, there was that weird period between 2009 and 2011 where there were no real NASCAR games. You had NASCAR cars in Gran Turismo 5, and then you had this Days of Thunder game. It is one of the worst games I've ever played, honestly. I regret, and I was stationed at Masawa actually at the time, so I like didn't have a lot of places I could really buy games, and that was one of my first digital games. Yeah. So, yeah, that game's terrible. The only thing that's cool is Rowdy Burns is your crew chief. That's it. That's the only good thing of this game. It's just really the handles just terribly, but I don't
yeah.
know why that just popped in my head because Gran Turismo, of course, has the NASCAR cars, because then of course there was NASCAR 2011, the game that was, uh, well, I don't know if it was much better than NASCAR 2009 from EA. It was a new company and everything, but yeah. So the next question is: do you prefer arcade style racing games or realistic simulators, and why?
That's a rough question because I really like both.
Yeah.
Uh, I would say these days, well, I used to be more into simulation games.
Mhm.
I liked Outrun, but I was never like deep into it. But nowadays, I prefer arcade though.
Mhm.
Because I feel like nowadays, if you want to really play simulation games, you want to play iRacing, which is they used to make. They're the studio. They also used to make simulations. Forgot which
Mhm.
ones, but and my dad and I might join a league by the way for that at some point. We've been talking
Nice.
about it, yeah. But I feel like that's more the direction to go nowadays.
Oh yeah.
But I just enjoy arcades. Why? I think it's you still have you still have to be driving well and enter your turn at the right time, be at the apex and everything. But you
Mhm.
have much more creativity possible in arcade games. Stuff you couldn't do in real life. I really enjoy that. Yeah, yeah.
100%. I feel exactly the same way. I'd rather play an arcade style because you can do crazy zany
Yeah,
things you'd never be able to do in a
yeah,
simulator.
yeah,
It's like it has just a good better feel to it. It's just more fun. There's just a
yeah,
bigger fun factor there.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Get back to the simulation thing too, because actually that goes into another question. In fact, I'll just skip to that question and come back to another one. But how do you feel about the rise of esports and racing in games like F1 to Gran Turismo, iRacing? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it's awesome. And actually, the other day, I'm not gonna say where I work, but I fixed the computer of a guy that won actually last year's season for iRacing in the NASCAR league. Uh, the guy has like 50,000 followers on Twitch or something like that. So it's big. It's big here.
Oh, absolutely.
Esports and that with that game anyways, and some others as well like Gran Turismo. But iRacing is the biggest one. No, I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, his mom told me, oh yeah, my son won that league. I'm like, what iRacing? Really? This was so funny.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, no, I think it's pretty cool. Don't know what you think.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's really awesome, and it's so cool to see. Sometimes, some of the drivers who started out in iRacing, get into real cars. Like
Yeah,
the good example is William Byron. Started out as just a kid on a computer. Next thing he's a full time Cup Series driver driving the legendary number 24 car, and and almost won the championship last year. Probably would have under the old points system, honestly. Yeah. So, and just this kid, no, he's no from nowhere. He's not related to Red Byron. Okay,
Yeah.
the old really comes from the '40s, but '40s and '50s driver. But yeah, he's just some kid from nowhere. I love that that underdog story about the kid from nowhere who goes on to become a huge success because and iRacing has afforded so many people that kind of opportunity to showcase their skills to the point that they can actually get into real cars. So I think it's absolutely awesome. Well, except with the exception of that one time when Kyle Larson was visiting and driving an iRacing in 2020 and lost his ride because of something he said on. Yeah, that was bad. But obviously it worked out in the end because the next year, he went and he got suspended for the rest of the year. But then next year went on to win a championship. So yeah,
Yeah.
these things all take care of themselves in the end. But question 5 is, what's your favorite track in any racing game, and what makes it special?
Well, that's a very easy question. That's Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. Uh, it's
Nice.
I would say it's special because it's where I grew up. But honestly, most Formula One drivers say also it's their favorite track, and when you learn that track, it's just so technical and fun. It's just and unique. Like when you start, you have the Eau Rouge turn that's really really tight, and then you have the Raidillon where you climb hundreds of feet, and then you have a chicane at the end of it. Then you have a long straightaway, and then again two tight turns. I mean, it's just and that's one of the only tracks that's always been in the F1 championship since the beginning and still there.
Pretty
One
awesome.
of the few ones. Yeah, they don't want to get rid of it because they've been asking more and more money to Belgium to keep it in the lineup. But at some point, Belgium was like, we can't upgrade anymore. Like you get because the Formula One organization is very greedy, and they want each countries to invest a lot or lose their spot. But the drivers all said we don't want to lose Spa-Francorchamps because we love it so much. So they've never gotten rid of it. What about you?
That's awesome. Yeah, it's like, so one's a fictitious track and one's sort of a real track. These are some of the early NASCAR EA tracks that didn't come out to the later versions of the games or whatever. But the first one is the Daytona Beach course, which is not really a real version of what Daytona Beach was because they were like straight up on the beach the whole race or whatever. But this is kind of a weird mixture of it's like part of it's on the road and part of it's on like what looks like to be the beach. I thought that was so cool, and I don't know why that wasn't a standard track in like every future EA Sports NASCAR tracks as far as the NASCAR games go. From even like 2000, like it seemed like after 2005 Chase for the Cup, I want to say they stopped using it, but it was in some of the other earlier like Thunder '04 and stuff like that. I just love that track. It was great. The other one was it was a fictitious NASCAR track. It was called Tiburon Speedway. The thing
Oh
was like
yeah,
3 mile long track. It was ridiculous. That one was really cool. As far as like I guess real life tracks, oh man, that's a tough one. I'm trying to think what would be like. I mean, I guess Darlington. I mean, how can you go wrong with Darlington?
and
One of the
Darlington.
oldest tracks, and definitely, it's a very technical track. There's like the Darlington stripe and everything. Everybody gets when they go through there because it's very cool. It's a egg shaped track. It's
Yeah,
not like the normal. Yeah, but
yeah.
and of course, in real life, of course, the only I've been to 3 NASCAR races, and they were all at Indianapolis. I went to the 2014 Brickyard 400. I went to I went to last year's the Indy Road Course race or whatever. When that was the last year of the road course, and they brought back the oval this year for the 30th anniversary, and I went to that. So, but yeah, I guess I have to say I like Indy, obviously, since it's the only track I've really been to as far as Cup races go, anyways. And
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, well, my dad was a big racing fan, but Yeah, but, I just want to say, if I have to say for a NASCAR track, my favorite would be Bristol. By the way, I really like that
Oh
one.
yeah,
I
it's
think it's pretty
actually
cool.
it's going on tonight. Actually,
Oh yeah,
yeah, the Bristol Night Race is on right now.
I didn't
Actually,
even realize.
yeah, I was like, I don't know. I was like, yeah, and I thought about it too. I was like, oh, maybe I should do this podcast tomorrow since it's Bristol Night. But then I was like, I'll see if I can catch the end or whatever. But agreed. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
Bristol's
so.
pretty cool. It's
Like, get
intense.
this
It's
out of the way. It's like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Next
especially
question.
Bristol.
Huh?
It's kind of crazy that they got rid of the. I was not surprised, but it's crazy they got rid of the dirt when they were doing the Bristol Dirt Race or whatever. But it was cool the first year, whatever, and it's kind of outworn its welcome. So, but I'm glad they went back to the pavement, honestly. So, anyways, the
Yeah.
next question, it's what's more important to you in a racing game, speed, handling, or visuals?
Oh, definitely not visuals. And yeah, sensation of speed. Yeah, because the handling, as long I mean, you adapt to it in any game. So definitely the speed and the sensation of speed is there, whether it's arcade or simulation. Wonka Bar, by the way, just
I do like.
I was gonna say Wonka Bar is saying he runs the family fan club of Davy Allison, who died in 1993. Sure, he said that. That's pretty cool, Wonka Bar. Thousands of
My
members.
dad is
Hmm?
Yeah, my dad was a huge Davy Allison fan.
Oh, nice.
I remember watching the 1992 race at Atlanta when we sat on the couch, at home watching the 92 race at Atlanta. But I remember how heartbroken my dad was when Davy Allison lost the championship. I mean, is and then of course we lost Davy the year after that, and that was terrible, obviously, and Ellen Kowicki for that matter. But yeah, my dad is a hardcore Davy Allison fan, and I always liked the number 28. It's like that was always like considered to me like one of my numbers. It's like if I was gonna pick a number, it'd be like I'd pick like 28, or I'd pick the other number I'd pick is maybe like 32, and that's because my cousin Charlie, he'd be my cousin twice removed, so he's like my grandfather's cousin. He actually that was one of his numbers, and he used to race at like these like local short tracks and stuff in Iowa. Like he used to race at Hawkeye Downs like back in the 50s and 60s and 70s a little bit there. And yeah. So yeah, cousin Charlie, that was one of his numbers, and he had a yellow 32 Ford as well. So so yeah, 28, 32, those are definitely some numbers I always have a special place in my heart and whatnot. So
Cool. That's awesome.
yeah.
Ton of Davy Allison fans in here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's say next question is, how do you feel about the inclusion of story modes in some racing games? Do they add to the experience?
Well, that's an interesting question. I would say they can, but sometimes they do not. I would say the new Need for Speed games, for example, I think it's super cringe. I don't like it. I honestly, it's one of the reasons why I don't play modern Need for Speed games. If but if it's like the newest Formula One games, I think I do like that to a certain extent. So I do follow that. I don't know if you ever played a recent modern Formula One game, but
It's like 2009 was the last Formula One game I played.
yeah, nowadays they usually have a story mode, and it's pretty cool. I actually today I bought F124, by the way. It was on sale, so I got that because my dad plays that too. So
Very
um,
nice.
and yeah, it depends. So it depends. It can be good. I do like a good narrative in a video game, a good narrative experience. I don't skip through cutscenes ever. I Because I like to know. I don't know. I'm not somebody who skips through cutscenes. I know a lot of people do
Yeah.
that, but that's not what I do. But then if it's a bad story, then it's painful for me to watch. Like I can't like the new Need for Speed games. Like I literally want to rip my hair off my head. You know what I mean? So like I can't, man. And
Yeah. I know it's I tried playing one of the Midnight Club games a while back, and I was like, now that was cringe. Holy crap! I was like, ugh, that's just yeah. I really loved what they were doing with like the NASCAR EA games back in the day. With the fight to the top mode, and like if you ran into somebody at a race or whatever and started a rivalry with them, they'd like confront you at the in the garage after the race.
Yeah,
That was
that's
pretty
cool.
cool. I love that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was some like I remember playing Need for Speed: The Run on Wii, which is very different than the 360 and PS3 version. And it's kind of interesting, because obviously you're racing across the country and stuff like that. But the cutscenes were just basically very like animated. They weren't like realistic looking.
Yeah.
So I kind of liked that one. I was kind of digging that one a bit. And but yeah, the most part, it's some of this, yeah, in the more realistic Need for Speed games, I can understand like it's like, okay, this is kind of getting overplayed. I just want to get in the car and drive, so I can see that aspect of it too, for sure.
Yeah. They, I don't know. It's just cringe. I don't know if it's for teenagers or whatever, but
Yeah, exactly. Got to appeal to that audience at the tuner, especially the tuner racer type ones. Yeah.
yeah. I'm not into tuning, so
Yeah.
you know.
How important is car customization in a racing game? Do you spend a lot of time tweaking your vehicles?
Huh. That's actually one of my bad sides that I don't do that nearly enough. I do it a little bit, but definitely, like if you want to push in some simulators to really get good times, you have to do it. I don't do it a lot. No, I should. The good because a good pilot or driver, yeah, it's one of his qualities. Is he's good at that. I'm not very good at that. I know about you.
Yeah, and it just depends on the game. Some of it's kind of really annoying. Like I think there was this sprint car game I remember trying to play. I think it was a World of Outlaws game from like PS2, and I remember trying to customize that. And I had the worst luck with that. That was bad for me. But there's a lot of NASCAR games. I actually do really enjoy that aspect of it. Like NASCAR Thunder 2004, which a lot of people consider to be one of the best NASCAR games. It
Yeah,
had such a deep career mode. Oh my gosh! And of course, the thing is too, the upside was, of course, such a deep career mode. I mean, like if you wrecked your car,
yeah,
you had to get that car fixed, and you had bought multiple cars, and you decide to race whichever car was best for that track. Like you keep buying cars and have to keep repairing them if they got, and you'd upgrade those cars as well. Yeah, and so that was a really deep career mode, very different than, for example, NASCAR Dirt to Daytona, where you were basically just you bought the equipment, and you had that equipment, and you upgraded it, but you also had crew members. You could upgrade your crew and stuff like that. But the thing didn't really you didn't really like have to repair stuff at the lower levels at least, but like later on the higher levels, yeah, you might have to repair your car, but you didn't have multiple cars. So that aspect of it I really enjoyed, and of course, playing the Gran Turismo games, obviously you can upgrade cars there and buy new cars. That was one thing I always liked about the Gran Turismo 5 is, buying different cars and upgrading them and stuff like that. Yeah, some games, the upgrading can be a little tedious. Like sometimes it's like this is too much. Like I
hmm
don't I don't care what kind of wheels I have or whatever, or what kind of rims I have. It's just like I just want wheels that are good and have good traction. It's like so sometimes I think it's great, and other times I'm like this is out of control. So it just depends, yeah, entirely on the game.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And NASCAR Thunder 2004. Remember, I had it, but I didn't do the career. But I remember it was handling very well.
What do you think the future holds for racing games with new technologies like VR and augmented reality?
So VR, I have no interest in VR whatsoever at the moment. I don't know. Maybe if it becomes more like affordable, and I don't know, you have to store it somewhere. Like I'm trying to get
Yeah.
rid of stuff, man. So I told you, I went to storage 3 times. I threw away all my 2XL clothes, all my extra large clothes. So I went to Goodwill 3 times to give it all away.
Not
Uh,
going back.
nope. Now I wear large and that's it. I could wear medium if I wanted to, but I don't want it to be, too tight. But and also I'm 6'1", You're taller than me. You're 6'4", 6 foot.
Yeah,
You said right. So that you're a tower, man.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. Yeah, I wear like the XLT shirts, not just XL but XLT.
Yeah. Damn,
Yeah, because
man.
I used to wear like double XL shirts. They look terrible on me, and my wife was like, "You
Yeah.
can't keep wearing these double XL shirts. You got to get special shirt like XLT ones." So you know what's interesting? Sometimes I find T-shirts like in certain places where you can, but where they make custom T-shirts. Sometimes they have XLT size, and sometimes they don't. So I feel constantly discriminated against and whatnot. But yeah, that's those fit me good, and I've always kind of worn those. It's so I can't go back to wearing 2XLs because it just makes me look big, even though I'm not big. I'm like slightly overweight, not enough to be like, oh man, this guy's heavy kind of thing. But
No.
yeah,
220 for
I'm not.
six foot four. It's not very overweight.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
yeah, I'm like I'm 227, for 6'5.5", but still,
6'5" and a
yeah,
half. Damn.
yeah.
Jesus,
I'm
six
probably
five and a half.
closer to I'm probably closer to 6'6", but I tell people I'm 6'5.5" because I don't want them to think I'm some kind of freak.
No, that's dude. That you should be proud of that. If there is one thing
Yeah.
I would not want to give away, for me is my height. And I'm sorry for anybody who watches who's not tall, but I love being tall
Yeah.
personally. I don't want to offend anyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love my height. So if I could be even taller, I would take it, man. Absolutely, you should be proud of that.
Yeah.
And women love
I
that.
just, yeah. I always say my wife married me because I was tall.
Yeah, like there's not. You will never find a woman that's gonna be like, I prefer a short man. You never, if you're a short man, you can still, of course, date and have a wife and everything. But it's not gonna be your quality. Me, I also have. We all have flaws. So it's fine to
Yeah,
have
of
flaws.
course. Absolutely.
But
Nobody's perfect. Yeah.
no, nobody's perfect. But yeah, I love being tall. So no, you should be proud of that. That's actually awesome, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Also, I don't know. Yeah, I've always just been like, yeah, I'm 6'5".
yeah.
But
No,
yeah. So yeah, I'm not really too interested in the VR stuff. It looks interesting, and obviously I've used if VR became the equivalence of like using 3D glasses, which I'm very comfortable using since I have a 3D TV and Gran Turismo 5, yeah, I'd be down for that. But if it's like, this big ploppy thing you got to put on your head, I don't know why I said ploppy, but yeah, this thing you got to put on your head, I
I,
don't know. Yeah,
I
it's not my deal.
I have no idea what ploppy means. First time I hear that. So
I think I meant to say floppy, but I don't know. That
I
doesn't sound right. But
have no
anyways,
idea what that means.
what's the next? Okay, what's the craziest in-game stunt or race you've ever pulled off in a racing game? I know you got to have something, with all the records you have on all these games and stuff.
A stunt I pulled. Oh, man.
Yeah, yeah, craziest stunt or race you've ever pulled off in a racing game.
Well, my craziest race was definitely my world record for Outrun Mass System Goal E. Um, that run was perfect, I think. And that's why still hold the world record for it. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
sure technically you can beat it by a few milliseconds. I'm sure, but how I don't know. That's gonna be a doozy. So
Yeah.
that's definitely my proudest race there. And that's the game I played the most. The racing game I played the most is Outrun Mass System. That's why I got like I showed earlier. I got this controller.
So awesome,
I'm
dude.
gonna show it again, and yeah, this because I saw that I'm like, this is a game I've played the most. So I'm the most proud of. Yeah, Wonka Bar likes this too. Yeah, you
So
weren't here
good.
when I showed this Wonka Bar. Look at that, man. Look at that beauty. I have to. I'm gonna unwrap it right now. Let's see how it handles.
Oh man, surprise unboxing on the live stream. All right.
I have to play with. Oh, it looks even better outside of the plastic. Look at that, man. Look at that.
Oh dang.
I know, I love it so much.
The hand and everything, yeah.
Yeah, I know, I love it so much.
Very
It
cool.
feels. The buttons feel great. It's the same as the other one I got from another store. It's also custom made, and The D-pad is really really good. Better
Nice.
than the D-pad on the original Master System, and also that way I don't have to use my original controllers because they don't make them anymore. And for Genesis, you can buy new controllers. They make them for NES. They make them for SNES. Like all consoles, they're still being produced by third party, but they, officially and everything under license. For Master System, you
Yeah.
can't. So if my original controllers die, you have to buy them on eBay used, and
Yeah.
it's not ideal. So I use these, and no, they're really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
What
looked
about
really
you?
good.
Your best stunt or whatever?
I yeah, it's like there's been so many things. I'm sure I pulled off some really cool stuff, but it's like some of it's it's just the thing that just always sticks with me is the stupidest thing. It's something that happened when I was a kid, actually, and I was racing my friend. I was racing my friend Shane, I think it was, at my buddy Andy's house. And we were playing Andretti Racing, and we were racing side by side, and we were on the last lap. We were both side by side, and we were racing pretty aggressively, and I knocked him into the pits and won the race.
Nice.
It was so cool. I was like, I never won a race like that before. that was,
Nice.
and I still have the game Andretti Racing. I don't have my original copy, but I do have that game, and because of that, that memory, that
Yeah.
still sticks with me of driving so dang dirty and winning that race. That was a cool game, Andretti Racing. I tried to play it recently, and man, it has not aged great.
Which
But it
Andretti
actually has
racing?
Andretti Racing on PS1.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and I remember it has an Indy car and it also has a NASCAR car and it has the 28 car actually. It wasn't Davey Allison. It was probably Ernie Irvin, I would guess. Or maybe it could have been Kenny Irwin. I don't know. I think it was Ernie Irvin actually. But yeah, because after Davey passed away, I think like Robbie Gordon got in the 28 for like one race. And then Dale Jarrett was in the 28. And then yeah, no, I'm sorry. Dale Jarrett was in the 28 later, actually. Ernie Irvin was in the 28, and then Ernie Irvin got hurt in the 28, and then Dale Jarrett temporarily replaced him in the 28, and then Ernie Irvin came back in the 88 car, and then they switched rides the next year. And then then eventually Ernie Irvin left or whatever. I don't know if he was, but anyways, he was replaced by Kenny Irwin Jr. And then Ricky Rudd was in the 28, and Ricky Rudd was the last one really in the 28, except there was one year Travis Kvapil was in the 28, and for one year when it was just Yates Racing in like 2008. But other than that, yeah, nobody's driven the 28 really. I think somebody else did, actually. I take that back, but it wasn't for a Yates Racing team. I want to say it was Joey Gase actually drove the 28 for one ride, and it was in the Davey Allison colors, but there was some kind of charity thing related. They got the approval, but for the most part, yeah, the 28's always been a Yates number to me, and when I see it, I think of Robert Yates Racing. So I just went on a little tear there about RYR. So, but yeah, so that was cool that car was in there. Actually, that's pretty neat that was in Andretti Racing. Something I kind of had forgotten until I played it again. But I think it was because of the Texaco Haviland sponsorship. I think that was the reasoning behind it. But yeah,
Yeah.
Andretti Racing, man, that was a great memory.
Yeah. I was asking because there's also an Andretti. There's many Andretti racing game. Yeah, they're all
I
good.
think I have one of them that's on the Sega Genesis. I want to
Yeah,
say.
I'm
Yeah,
moderator for that game actually, and
nice.
it's really 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 good. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's actually impressive. Mario Andretti Racing.
Yeah.
You can drive stock, open wheel, and there's a third. I forgot which one. It's three
Yeah, I think
different
I
types.
tried it out when I first got it, and then I haven't been back to it yet. Yeah, it's like,
Some dragster you can too.
yeah, I got to dust off the old Sega Genesis sometime here, and it's been a while since I played it. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah, no, it's pretty cool. And then oh yeah, there's also Andretti Racing on. I think it's on NES.
hmm.
I don't know if I look here. Yes, Andretti Racing. Oh yeah, this one on PS1 is the one you just mentioned. I never played that one actually. I'd have to check it out. It's on speedrun.com.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Apparently
Mhm.
you can beat it in 6 minutes. So it's a short run.
Impressive.
Yeah. Must be just one race or something. But anyways.
Yeah, it's probably just one race.
Yeah. So do you have any other questions?
That was all of them. That was all 10 questions.
That was a lot. That was a lot.
Yeah.
No, how
This
long?
is an intense one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got anything else?
Yeah, I think I had one more thing to talk about, but I don't remember what, so it mustn't be that important.
Yep. All right.
No, yeah,
So,
I think we got it. You can wrap it up.
yep. So, thank you guys so much for coming out to the live stream, and everybody who's watching this on YouTube like 2 or 3 days later or whenever I put it out. So yeah, and next month we're gonna play Zelda. Gonna play the new Zelda, so that'll be pretty cool. So we'll do the next podcast. We will talk about the new Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that.
All right.
I'm probably gonna go live soon for Lollipop Chainsaw. If anybody's interested, I want to say thank you to Wonka Bar for being in chat today and for the GGs.
Thanks, Wonka Bar. All right. Yeah. Looking. So yeah, if you're watching this on Twitch when it's coming out, yeah, go check out Marceau. He's going to be playing the Lollipop Chainsaw game. All right. So okay. All right. Yep.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you all so much for coming out.
Yeah. Bye.
Stay awesome.
Yeah.
Later.
And remember to master your systems. Bye, guys.